Welcome to an inaugural episode of Quick Fics, a Carrying Wayward minisode where I, Drew Schulman, co-write a fanfic episode of Supernatural with a guest. Today, that guest is a fellow podcaster and Supernatural fan, Audra Stephenson from the Gateleapers. Hello, Audra, and thank you for joining me and seeing if this idea has any legs, really.
Hello! It's amazing to be here. I'm so excited.
I've got to ask, have you, I know you've had guests, Gateleapers requires having guests on the show to kind of work the way it does. Have you guested on many other shows before?
I haven't. It's typically Matt who guests on other shows.
Well, I'm very proud that we got you first.
Yes, I guess people, since he is like our games master, I think people trust him more. I don't know. I think they might think that Jason and I are wild cards. I've never done a wild card thing in my whole life.
Wild card describes Jason way too well.
Yeah, he is a risky bet. He is a risky bet.
I definitely want to reach out to both of them and have them on this show if it does work eventually. I have a few other friends and fellow podcasters to reach out to. And of course, if you are a podcaster or know a podcast you think would be a good fit, feel free to reach out to us on socials. I'll do all the plugs at the end. But I guess to give a bit of a preamble to what this idea was for anyone listening, which I'm hoping is most people, the idea here was I wanted to kind of have a little section where I could do some fanfic creative writing collaboratively with somebody. And thought this would be a fun way to do that on days where Mary couldn't be around and we wanted to do some extra content. So I will be asking our guest of honor every week, or every time we do one of these, to bring something to the table for the brothers to face, whether this be something out of mythology, from another fandom, whatever works. I'm really not going to be picky. And we'll try to kind of piece together a bottle episode of the show that wouldn't really affect the main, kind of like a filler episode, but still a fun one you want to watch. I would wonder, who or what would you be bringing to this episode?
So this is right in my passion wheelhouse. When I first started watching this show in college, me and my friends watched it, and we would just, when we were in certain situations, we would just look at each other and be like, how would we die? And it's, you pitch, based on the situation that we are in, what is the first 5 minutes of the Supernatural episode that we are about to die in?
Oh, so you literally paint yourselves into that that few second cold open before the title card where it's just the creature's revealed and someone's murdered.
Yes. What's the monster that kills us right now?
So, what monster is killing you in the cold open of this fictional episode?
Because we are recording a podcast, it must be sound-based.
Oh.
So, my thought would be, there is, an error or something with our sound. I'll be like, oh, I have to call you back, but I leave the headphones on. And it's something like a siren type. There's a lot throughout mythology. There's a lot of things that kill you with sound or have high sound bases. Like banshees are really sound based. So something is going to come through, kill me. I wouldn't be able to call you back.
Oh, man. There is something I love about a creature or an entity that isn't physical, that it exists. I feel like there was a movie many, many years ago, revealing my age here, called White Noise, where it was literally the monster was in white noise. Oh. And that to me is it's a level of fear of it can be anywhere, but it's not tangible. So what can it do or what can't it do? Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So that is a game that I played throughout my university time. So this, so exciting. Because of my excitement, I did over prepare.
Oh, please. As much info as you got, I'm down.
I have 3 pitches.
For those who haven't listened to Gateleapers yet, there is a very common recurring minigame they play, which is a pitch thing, which I didn't realize until we were discussing this is kind of what this show has become. Pitch me an episode of Supernatural, but I'll help you. But I want to hear your pitches.
Every single time we play that game, I do, and I'm going to put this on everybody else. I wish it was a bit longer, so we had some time to play in the space. So
I will admit, the 2 times I've been on, both times I kind of wanted to go longer or like go like more into it. I will admit.
So my 3 pitches.
Okay.
I'll put them in terms of the strength that I see them as.
Okay.
So I'll end with the one that I think I might be most excited about. First, the mares of Diomedes. There's a story, Hercules, one of his labors is cleaning out the stables of Diomedes, but they're flesh-eating horses.
Okay.
And they don't eat anything else.
I was going to say, I'm like, oh yeah, like now that you mention it, yeah, there is a thing where he has to clean some stables. How have I never heard the flesh-eating part?
They eat anyone. And I love the idea, the Winchesters, television show-wise, thrive in fish out of water situations. So I love the idea of like a posh riding stable, not like we use our horses for corralling the cows, but like English style dressage style horses that suddenly become crazy violent.
Oh, I'm just picturing that scene where they forcibly have to put Dean in one of those like riders outfits that are like way too posh and proper for him.
Yes.
Oh, that alone makes this worth it. But I like it.
Honestly, talking through it, these are all great. My second one, Norse mythology.
Oh, soft spot for me.
Ratatoskr, the squirrel that goes up and
down the tree.
Yes. So the point of this squirrel, he wants to destroy the tree. So he says nonsense to people like he's a messenger, but he always twists up the message so that the tree will be destroyed. So I love the idea of, if we want to make it like slightly serious, he can be in a political situation. But a lot of people like are dying and it's wild. Or honestly, if we want to go silly, he's a mailman. A lot of people are dying on this mailman's route.
Oh my god, I love that. I like the serious angle too. Like, don't get me wrong, I really like the idea of like painting it, like having it be a politician, making it very clear it's like this dirty politician, and then find out it's actually his campaign manager, and like she's so good at like making him look bad that like they think he's the villain instead of them. Like, I could see it being like that secret reveal. But the idea of a mailman just like messing with people via mail.
Yeah. Like, just the messages getting messed up and impacting people's lives in a really supernaturally tragic way.
Oh yeah, like obviously the tragedy of like someone taking their own life because they got a letter and like then they find the letter and it's like something's weird with this paper and the letter doesn't make sense and it's made from the bark of a weird tree.
Yes.
Oh.
So that's also solid. My third one, Scottish mythology, a bugbear.
Oh, the bugbear. I will be honest, my bugbear knowledge is very rooted in D&D, but I do love me a bugbear.
So the myth of this did start in Scottish mythology, like goblins and hobgoblins, and then some etymology to like boggarts and like all of this stuff became this variant that's a bugbear. You mentioned D&D. I wanted to lean into that. The idea that there isn't a ton of lore in bugbears. The main source of lore for most people is D&D. So I love the idea of Sam Winchester finding a monster manual.
Oh my god.
Because I'm sure it's like a Hasbro thing and Wizards of the Coast, why they've never done anything too awful.
Yeah.
D&D heavy. But this is fanfic and I can do whatever I want.
Limitations.
So I love copyright. The idea of them being like, oh, they're going to swing twice. And maybe like, oh, I have this expert. I lined up this expert on bugbears and it's just some nerdy kid.
Just like some 12-year-old kid at the local card shop.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I'll remember if I had a few more unopened packs of Pokemon cards, and Dean just buying him Pokemon cards to get him to speak. Oh my god.
I need a Astral Radiant Charizard.
You could tell someone's gotten back into Pokemon cards recently.
Yes.
Hey, no, I literally have a Charizard on the shelf behind me right there. It was in my
God,
breast
I
pocket at
respect
my
it.
wedding.
Oh my God, I respect it.
Okay, so with the 3 ideas you've pitched me, I love all 3 of them.
I love all 3 of them. I will go with any of them.
And while
Very
I
excited.
think the idea of, like, both the, like, shady politician or the mailman side, and then even having to, like, eventually reveal its true nature as, like, basically a demonic squirrel, I like the idea of the bugbear and leaning into the idea that, like, the lore that we know from the bugbear, of bugbear from, like, its characteristics in D&D are its real lore, and that's where it came from. It's kind of like a snake eating its own tail there a little Ouroboros. And then the idea of the brothers having to, like, use, kind of, like, lean on D&D logic a little bit in how they fight it, I think is just too, like, it's so silly, but it's so good.
That's what I was thinking. I'm so glad that you like that one.
Okay, so let's run with that one, if we're both on board.
Yes. Yes.
So, I think the biggest thing with every episode of Supernatural is there's usually that level of, like, hey, whatever this thing is, yes, it's ultimately posing a threat to people and things. So whether it's coming out of the woods and killing people, or, you know, it's breaking into game stores and destroying them, and that's the weird chain they start with. I guess the next thing would be, like, what like, the brothers tend to usually have something, like, personal at stake a little bit. So, like, would this be a very Sam-centric or a Dean-centric episode, or kind of balance the two of them, you think?
I think potentially more of a Dean heavy episode, but just because there is that kind of thing of Sam kind of being the nerd of the group. So it needing to be perhaps Dean accepting the nerdiness of the stat block in order.
Oh, so Dean's our fish
to
out of
help
water
it.
in this scenario.
Yes, because it is a little bit more uncomfortable. There's the nerdy level that Sam is. He's studious law school misc. But D&D, as a big D&D nerd, that's another level.
Oh yeah, no. Even I admit, like, I've only played a little bit here and there, and it's mostly just the time commitments to it. But, like, there is a level of nerdery there that, like, it takes something special, and I admire that.
Yeah, and so the idea that Dean needs to go even nerdier than Sam to solve the situation.
Oh, so do we get to a point maybe where I don't know how we get there? We'll have to write our way around it a bit, and that's, again, we can be more specific in the eventual writing of this if we decide to. But I think for today, it's just fun to have the bullet points. Do we eventually have Dean has to fight on his own because Sam is missing or gone or whatever? He's damseled in distress troped. So Dean has to do it himself and has to accept that there are rules to this world.
I'm loving this.
Oh, I love this. Dean having to explore playing by someone else's rules, and he can't just showboat, and he has to even just work as a team with people he doesn't know very well.
Perhaps that nerdy 12-year-old.
Yes, that nerdy 12-year-old, his stepdad who's trying to, like, get, like, hip and cool and, like, earn points with him because he just recently married his mother. And, like, I throw in the new girl in school who hasn't made friends yet, and this is the first person she's, you know, run into. So, like, they're all kind of misfits in their own way.
Ooh. Incredible. This is an incredible ecosystem we're building here.
My God, I love this. This is like a Stranger Things episode almost.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's hitting the zeitgeist. So
we're so good at this.
So there is a bugbear in town. It is attacking local game shops. Is this what we decided?
Yes, and it is specifically destroying anything related to, like, heroes, like whether it be props or costumes or, like, figurines of, and that's where they start the trail of, like, what a weird, like, choice. Like, it's coming in and not destroying this shelf, but it destroyed this shelf and only these ones, or, like, it skipped, like, it destroyed all these books except for this monster manual with a picture of a bugbear or, like, other creatures on the cover. What a weird choice.
And this does fit a lot in with both the D&D and original lore of them kind of being a bit sneaky.
Ooh,
I was going
to say, you mentioned they were related to like in lore wise to like goblins and hobgoblins.
Mm-hmm. So
I
basically,
did not know that.
Yeah, the original mythology is them kind of evolving as like a subtype, and then a bug or a bog being a term for like a little goblin, and then but they're as big and as furry as a bear.
Oh, that makes them kind of huggable too, which I love.
I know.
So the next big question I was going to say is like, do they kill it at the end, or like how do they resolve it? So let's say Dean is accepted, he has to kind of play by the rules, and they do work together, and they corner it, they're about to win. Is it like a straight up, they just kill it the end, or are we going to be like, they find a way to set it free somewhere better, or do we want to get kitschy with this a little bit?
Ooh. I'm wondering, where did this bugbear come from?
Oh.
Is he real? Or is there some other
a magic
item? A magic item. Am I going too deep? Am I going too deep?
Like this. I like this. I like the doubling down on the D&D thing of like, oh, it's not an actual bugbear, but it's a magic item, which is still D&D relevant.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of like that.
Oh my gosh, I should have done more research on actual mythological like items, like magic items, if there's any summoning items. Oh, I
mean, no. I think this is where I think we can play the card of like, we're already kind of playing in a space that is so mystical and user-generated content. What if, again, if we go back to the idea of like, it's attacking like card shops and like game stores, there is like some sort of event going on in town, like maybe there's a rent fair in the town over, so they're kind of like ramping up for tourists who are a little more like, oh, D&D fans. And one of them accidentally digs up or pulls out a, like, cursed board game or something, and that's the item.
I love that. So that there is a reason, there's a reason that this is happening, that if we sort out the board game or sort out this magical item, then we can sort out the bugbear that just wants to go back in the book.
Oh, I even like the idea. I was going to say like one step further of like, they realize they can't defeat it. There must be something that's holding it here. They do their research. They figure out it's the board game or whatever the item might change. And then they deal with it and they're like, oh, the bugbear's gone. We saved the day. The town is safe. But then they find evidence that the bugbear's still around, just not angry anymore. Like kind of that cliffhanger ending of like, didn't we have sandwiches in the back of the truck? Yeah. And that fur looks very familiar. Yeah. And just like end it there kind of thing.
Oh.
So it's still out there, but it's kind now.
Oh my gosh. It just becomes like another Bigfoot legend.
Yes.
In the town. Oh.
We literally like we come back to this town like episodes later and there's like bumper stickers of like, my other car was stepped on by bugbear.
The idea of there being a Renaissance fair in town does add a really, really convenient way for us to get Dean to out-nerd anything we've ever seen. Because it could be a thing of like, well, he has to get to Sam, but he's never going to make it through this Renaissance fair without wearing appropriate clothes for the Renaissance fair. Like, he's going to be seen. He's going to be called out in a second.
Oh, I could also see that thing of like putting him in a position where he like has to compete in like an archery contest and he's like totally like, oh, whatever, I'll do it because I have to. But then he's really good and people are cheering and he goes like, oh, am I good at this? Am I good at Ren fairs? Wait, they're just giving me a lot of beer and meat? Wait, suddenly this nerd shit's looking pretty good on me.
Yeah. God.
Oh, I love this. I love this for Dean.
Nerd shit looks good on most people. I'm gonna be real.
Oh, amen. Amen. So I guess my last little question here. So again, I don't want these to go too long. So we have our creature of the week. We kind of have a rough idea of what our plot and our place is. We kind of have our centering you know, who's having their hero moment and who's learning what this week. And I think it's Dean accepting, you know, being a nerd and other people's ideas and like rules and systems, and he can't be in charge all the time. So my last kind of fun question, just to kind of like add a little pizzazz to this, who would we get as a guest star for this episode? And now that we've gone really heavy in the Ren Fair side of things, that has opened up so many new doors in my books.
The Ren Fair, the D&D vibes. If we could get a Matt Mercer, then that would be
or like
amazing.
Or like a Brennan or something, like a Brennan Lee Mulligan
Brennan
or
Lee
something.
Mulligan.
One of them.
A Brennan Lee Mulligan would be incredible.
One of them, like, as the owner of the card shop that they meet the kid at.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Just like a bit part that's people who love this will know who that is.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, this.
Oh, my. Make him a red herring.
Yes. Just, like, literally lead up to the fact that, like, I mean, he's big and bearish and kind of hairy. I mean, I don't know. But the right height.
He worked in the card shop, and then he was like suspiciously at the Renaissance Fair. Is
so
that
suspicious.
Just nerd stuff, or is that?
Is he just being nerdy, or is he actually being like a cult or something? Or like he has like all this cultish stuff, and they think it's him summoning a demon, and they eventually break in, and it's just like setting the scene for like a sexy D&D session with his wife. Just like we like our role play a little more role play and a little less, you know.
They just overhear like what they think is a spell. Like someone's summoning the Dark Lord. Nope. It's just a little personal time.
I can also imagine Dean like sneaking through the store, like, or like sneaking somewhere at night and hearing like someone muttering a spell, and he jumps the corner and it's just a kid like reading through a list of his Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Just these bizarre words and names, and just, oh, okay. Oh my God, I think this is a great idea for an episode. I love this.
I am so excited about this.
And again, like, I'm gonna say right now, like, especially the idea of the Norse one, like, we are bookmarking that for potential future return guest spots, because I honestly, as a little bonus segment at the end of this episode, I thought this was fun. I thought this worked really well, and I am very on board to keep doing these with people. And I really hope you're one of those people who will come back eventually.
Oh, I will 100% come back. I had a couple other ideas that I just moved off the list because I was just like, oh no, I like this one better. I like this one better.
Oh my God, I'm so down to hear all of them. We might not have time on the episode, but we'll definitely keep chatting. I want to hear more of these, and just like, this is such a fun game. But as we probably have to start saying goodbye because these mini-sodes have to be mini, my boss tells me, where can our listeners find you if they want to hear more from you?
You can find me every other week on the Gateleapers feed. We dive into a different nerdy fandom every other week, doing silly game show games. Drew has been on 2 episodes, hoping to have him back. It's an absolute treasure. We love to play in different fandoms, take some of them not too seriously, because playing in those fandoms is what makes this great. So hope to see you there.
As someone who's been on the show and has since become like an avid listener and Patreon supporter, I will tell you right now, go through, for anyone listening to this and hasn't already listened, I assume you'll be okay with a Supernatural episode, but pick any fandom you will love it, and then try one you've never heard of, like The Bachelor for me, and it's still going to be wonderful. So you're in for a good time no matter what episode you pick.
And the Supernatural episode is still one of my favorites. It was so much fun to record.
Oh my God, I still think back to those final games. I still bring them up with pride. Those portmanteau couples names that Matt gave us, those were brilliant.
Especially if you like off-the-wall type of games, it's so much fun to play with people who also really care about that fandom. So it's a blast. It makes for quick friends. Like it like we became friends so quickly, and it just like right away that was like the beginning of the like, I need to guest on more shows. I need guests on this show more. Well, thank you very much, Audra, for joining me today. This was so much fun. Thank you for having me.
And I hope everyone else enjoyed it just as much as I did making it. You've been listening to a Carrying Wayward minisode. We hope you enjoyed, and please let us know on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Carrying Wayward what you thought about this episode, this format, what we discussed, or what you'd like to see. Carry on, our wayward friends.